Many of us watch different sports and we know there are quite a number of rules that are applicable in the sports we watch. However, there are much more rules and laws about sports than we know of. That is the purpose of sports law, which is the subject of this episode. I am Abolade Akikumi. Welcome to the Insight Lego. Before we define what sports law is, let us skip the part where we talk about whether the concept of sports law exists. Many people have argued that the concept of sports law does not exist, and what you have is sports and the law. Oh, forgive me, I said we were skipping that part. Now, what is sports law? Sports law refers to the body of rules and laws that govern sporting activities. Different areas of law such as contract law, labor law, personal injury law, among many other areas of law constitute sports law. As it concerns contract law, players have contracts with the teams or clubs they play for. The law that governs these contracts are the normal rules of contracts that govern our daily transactions. Just like how every other person is hired for any service, players are hired and paid in a similar manner, while paying attention to whatever peculiarities that are applicable. As it concerns criminal law, any injury sustained during the sport is covered by the rules of the game. The rationale for this is that anybody that participates in any sports consents to the risk of injury which is likely to occur. In law, it is said that voluntas non fit injuria, meaning he who consents does not complain. However, a player could be criminally prosecuted for their actions on a field. Where there is implied consent of contact and possible harm, such contact of force must be reasonable and within the scope of the game. If the action that caused the injury is totally unreasonable and unnecessary, it will not be covered by the game. An injured player could also bring a personal action against the offending player that caused the injury. The injured player could sue whoever is responsible for the injury. The responsible party could be the owners of the sporting facility, the referee, a member of the opponent, or even a spectator. Anti-doping rules can also be said to constitute part of sports law. Players are prohibited from using drugs that enhance performance and confer an unfair advantage on users of such drugs. According to the World Anti-Doping Code, a set of rules on doping in sports made by the World Anti-Doping Agency, athletes have a duty to ensure that prohibited substances do not enter their body, and it would not be a defense that they didn't intend to use the drug. There are also many other rules to ensure that players do not use prohibited substance. Another issue in sports law is whether athletes will be permitted to use sporting kits that would seem to confer an unfair advantage on them. For instance, a shoe recently made by Nike, VAPORFLY, sparked controversy as to whether athletes who use it do not have an unfair advantage. All athletes who use the shoe seem to perform better than their opponents as a result of using the shoe. World Athletics, the world body in charge of athletics, has ruled that the use of the shoe is permissible subject to some rules. A similar swimsuit had caused similar controversy in the past. Gender issues in sports also constitute part of the issues that arise in sports law. The contentious part is whether transgenders or cross-dressers are permitted to participate in the sport with members of the sexual group they have converted to or among people of their natural sexual orientation. For instance, if a person who is naturally male considers himself female or performs a surgery to become a woman, will he be permitted to participate in sports among women or must necessarily be among men? This situation is similar to Caster Semenya's case. The Court of Arbitration on Sports ruled that women with naturally occurring high levels of hormone should take drugs to reduce their testosterone, a ruling she appealed and lost at the Supreme Court of Switzerland. There are also rules made by professional bodies of the sports. For instance, in football, the International Football Association Board makes rules on football. The rules range from the dimension of the field to what constitutes fouls on the field of play. Many other sporting associations have similar rules. Finally, the Court of Arbitration for Sports is the most competent court to hear cases on sporting disputes. They have jurisdiction to rule on issues such as sponsorship contracts and disciplinary actions, among others. As it is a court of arbitration, parties to the dispute must agree to submit the case before the court, either in their contract or when the issue arises. Also, the existence of this court does not mean that issues on sporting activities cannot be instituted before normal courts. Thank you so much for watching. Please make your comments below and subscribe to this channel.